Okay, welcome everybody. I'm sorry about the little technical difficulties right there. Thank you, Janice, to the rescue. Obviously, some of you are new. I see some new faces on the call tonight. Welcome to our Thursday night leadership call. Before I get started, I just want to remind everybody that next week's call, due to us being in Orlando at Elite Academy, I'm going to move this call to Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And I've been talking to my mentor and just it's a good time. And so I'm going to be moving my call to next Sunday night. I'm going to have a very couple special guests that are going to come on. They're going to talk about what they experienced at Elite Academy. I'm going to leave the mic open a little bit. As we have our largest group going to Elite Academy, I'm super excited about it. Next week, or a week from today, we'll have already spent a whole day with Eric Worre. I put some new slides on tonight. Many of us are wondering how I can sell someone, but maybe a better question is, how can I serve someone? I love Les Brown. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. We always have this saying, there's a lot of people that join LifeVantage that are getting ready to get ready. These leadership calls have been creating some great unity and some great momentum in our businesses. I know it's been the best thing that I've ever done. I've had them for about the last 6 to 8 weeks, consistently every Thursday night, and they have created a lot of enrollments. They have created a lot of excitement and a lot of momentum. And with us not having a Sunday night call with Team True Blue anymore, Brandon has pushed us to have these leadership calls, and I'm excited to do it. And so tonight I'm going to teach a little bit at the end, but I like every week to kind of have somebody come on and share their story, a little bit about why they're on. And tonight's guest, I'm going to let him talk about himself here a little bit, but I'm just going to say a couple things. John is probably, a lot of you know my background in nutrition and training and being an elite trainer in the sports and wellness industry. Very successful at that, but never had done network marketing before, never wanted to do it. Now I'm glad that God's ways are better than mine, and I've understood now that this is the future for me and hopefully all of you. We get to be a part of history, and John's going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And so my special guest tonight is Dr. John Huey. No relation to me. Guys from Canada can't spell very well, so they spell things without vowels. And so, but just probably one of the 5 smartest guys that I know, that I've been around, that have been in LifeVantage. Brandon Cunningham says that all the time. And now John and I are working and building this business together, building it for his family and his loved ones. So I'm going to let John talk a little bit about himself, tell why he's involved in LifeVantage, and a little bit about what he sees the future for LifeVantage. So John, welcome to the call. The floor is yours, my friend. Have at it. I think you must still be muted. Are you muted? Yeah, you okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Have at it, buddy.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for the very kind words, Michael. I got to make sure I look at the camera there, so I'm looking at the lens. As you mentioned, we've been involved in LifeVantage now for 4+ years. Initially, when Michael brought this to my attention, I think it was June, 4.5 years ago now. I promptly ignored it for about 3 months. Went on a trip with my father, came back, and then started to look at the information. Back then, I think there were just a handful of studies. Only took me the first study, the major study by Dr. McCord back in 2005, to realize that this was something significant and useful for my situation. My own situation, family situation, I should say. My son had a bone marrow transplant at a very early age, and as a result, I'm concerned with what's going to happen to him later on with respect to possible side effects that the bone marrow transplant could do. Because of that, he was taking as many good antioxidant supplements as I could find. Part of my background, in addition to being a chiropractor, is I'm board certified by the American Clinical Board of Nutrition for the past 11 years. So I take this very seriously. He was taking alpha-lipoic acid, N-acetylcysteine, Immunocal, resveratrol, to name a few. Nothing wrong with those supplements, but now they're essentially obsolete. So when I came across the Protandim, actually when I understood the information regarding Protandim, I realized that this is something that is exactly what I needed at the time. So he's been on it. My three daughters, older daughters, they've been on this. My wife, my family in Canada, hundreds of my patients. It's something I think is very, very useful in what I feel will be prevention in the long run, because decreasing oxidative stress is so vitally important in maintaining cell health and therefore health for the entire body. My undergraduate training was in genetics and molecular biology. I did 2 years in grad work as well. So I do understand the nuts and bolts of the transcriptional activation aspect of NRF2. I find that very exciting, and it's kind of nice to be able to incorporate that in my practice again when I haven't done it for a long time, as far as the gene application of this particular product. Came down from Canada back in '91. Love it here. My lovely wife Cynthia and our 4 kids. We're enjoying ourselves, obviously, and as Michael also mentioned, this is something that I can use long term. I like the idea of nonlinear income. I at first did not think it was such a good idea. I had a bad taste in my mouth from being introduced to multi-level marketing well over 20 years ago, probably 25 years ago, and wanted nothing to do with it ever since. But I did have enough sense to realize that the product was unbelievable. The opportunity that presented itself since the product is marketed the way it is also unbelievable. So I've become a believer in both the product and the way it's being marketed, because I do sell a lot of different supplements in my office, and I do like the way this is marketed, because I make more from this one thing than I do from the rest of the supplements combined, and that's the truth on that one. So if you have any
I'm going to ask you,
Michael?
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you a couple things. Something you said to me the other day, we had an appointment, and I liked something, and this hopefully this will resonate with a lot of people, John, because one of the things that I've realized a long time ago is that because of the significance of what LifeVantage, not just Nerve 2, but what our other products have done now with Axio and with our probiotics and some of our other products, you said something that really touched me the other day when you said, you felt as somebody, and we can see all your accolades here on the screen from, being in a nutritionist and being a chiropractor, and just talk a little bit about how your mindset had to change from, and maybe you can talk, I haven't mentioned this in a long time about how, when we first found out our levels of oxidative stress were only about 10 years younger than our actual age, and we had been exercising and eating properly and taking 25 or 30 supplements a day, and how that mindset had to change when you found out that there was something different, and you had been selling a lot of supplements and a lot of these things to people, and how you had to change, which I know most people, it's going to take a long time before they get to the point to where you are. And I want to commend you on your humility to do this, but just talk about that a little bit, about how your mindset had to change and of not selling all those other supplements and having, like Suzanne and I were talking about today, one of your distributors in Canada, about how a guy said, you're trying to tell me that one supplement can eliminate all of these other things I was taking. So kind of touch on that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I accept the compliment, although I've never been told I'm too humble, but I appreciate the compliment. It certainly is a paradigm shift. I mean, we've been looking at, improving our diets, to eating our green leafies and our colorful fruits and vegetables, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I encourage people to continue that. But the net effect of that on decreasing oxidative stress has been negligible. I can't think of any other product where they've tested a before and after with respect to free radical damage in the body. There's been nothing that has had such an impact. I mean, 40% decrease in a month, up to 70% in 4 months it is almost unbelievable. And I've told Michael this when I present this information to a fellow nutritionist or another physician, I look for the expression that they have, because if I say to them, I'll ask them, so what do you do to decrease your free radical damage or oxidative stress in your patients? And I'll listen politely. And when they're done, I'll say, would you be interested in finding out a way to drop it by 40% average in a month? And if they say that's impossible, or yeah, tell me how, I know they get it. If they kind of smile and say, well, yeah, whatever, I know they don't really understand the significance of that statement. It is a huge statement. We've never been able to really show a major decrease in free radical damage by doing anything in the past. This is something that it's groundbreaking. It's a paradigm shift. It's, they use the phrase category creating product, and it certainly is. So this is not just a small deal. To quote Dr. Martin Paul out of Washington State University. I mean, he thinks of it as one of the most important preventative and healthcare discoveries in medicine. That's a pretty big statement. And there are other physicians that feel the same way, and other PhDs that feel the same way, because of the ability to now control in a positive way thousands of genes, at least 4,000, and my gut feeling is it's probably going to be at least half the genes in the human genome, affect these genes positively to make an effect, or to cause an effect that heretofore was not possible. Whether that's with SOD and catalase and glutathione peroxidase, or the enzymes working in the heart, or ones that are working in the nervous system, it is a free-for-all out there as far as the research right now. You can plug in any enzyme, any gene pathway you want, and put into it NRF2, and find out that in some way, shape, or form, in most cases, it's involved in that pathway. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I must say but it did take a paradigm shift, because I was giving patients several other types of antioxidants, non-enzyme antioxidants, because that's the best technology I had at the time. So I don't feel badly about that, but I do feel better now that I can do a much better job. And I try and share that with as many people doing nutrition, physicians, dietitians, whomever, so that they have the opportunity to do better by their patients as well.
Well, that's I've always had a thought process, and this is just me, and I'm in the industry, is that some of the most prideful people when it comes to changing the way they think is people in our industry, is in the nutrition and the medical industry and the diet. And we talk about it all the time. If they're not hearing about it, if they're not telling you about it, then it can't be true. So, John, one last question. Touch base on the significance of two things: published studies and patents on natural products, and the significance of how that's happened, real quick, in just a couple minutes.
Well, we were talking to a mentor of mine. I won't name names. Who's developing his own product line, and I said to him that the nice thing is that the NRF2, the protandim, is patented, and he basically didn't believe me. And I said, yes, it's patented. And he, of course, said, how do you get patented? And I asked that question of Brooks Habertson, the author of the paper from, I think, 2012 or so, a huge paper. So when I met him in Texas, I said, so how did you guys get this patented? Because I can't go and say, well, I know that high doses of vitamin C, for example, works as an antihistamine. I can't go and patent, vitamin C as an antihistamine. So he said two things have to happen for a natural product like this to be patented. It has to be safe, which, as I like to make the point, is not true with legend drugs. The new drug just has to kill less people than the old drug. So that's the one thing. The second thing, you have to have an unanticipated result. And in this case, the unanticipated result was a measurable, a 40% decrease in free radical damage in mammals in 30 days. So that put it over the hurdle that allowed them to patent this. And with that, they have a patent on decreasing C-reactive protein and some other things, but that's the main thing. So we've taken 5 different natural compounds, ashwagandha, silymarin, bacopa, turmeric, and green tea, put them together in just the right amounts to have a huge effect on gene expression by activating NRF2. So that's the one point you're asking about. Your other question
on the significance of having 22 peer-reviewed.
Oh yeah, yes. Obviously, if patients come in, or not even just patients, but someone comes in, and usually it's a patient in my office, and they give me a packet of something or a sample of something, and I said, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at that. So we'll sit down at the computer, pull up PubMed.gov, type it in, nothing shows up. Even some of these products that are advertised on TV, there's a There's one out there, and I think you know what I'm talking about, that comes from jellyfish apparently. And if you look at published data on PubMed.gov, it's going to be very, very scarce, obviously. 22 peer-reviewed journals on a non-prescription patented product is unbelievable. And it's been like two or three in the past few months. So apparently you told me before that we're going to be adding another dozen or so in the next 12 to 18 months. That's fantastic. That is very exciting because it's groundbreaking. There are many prescription drugs out there that have less research on it, and yet they're being sold and passed along to patients every day. And here's a product that is extremely well researched in different fields, different areas, the effects of which are each day more and more spectacular, and it's available to the general public at an unbelievably reasonable price.
Okay, one last question before you go. Talk about this, and you and I have talked about this for a long time. We talked about this back when we first had the knowledge of this, and right shortly after Lisa and I joined, and we just looked at each other and we said, you know, and you can see John's kids' age, 18, 20, and 23. He has his kids in the business. Mm-hmm. The significance of, you know, why you decided to take it and have all your family take it, with the expectation of you may not feel something. Because we know that a lot of people will say, well, I took it for 30 days and I didn't feel anything. I myself and my wife, we never took Protandim to feel anything. We took it to do exactly what it said it would do. So just finish up with that, John. Talk about the significance of why you take it, and you take it long-term the rest of your life.
Well, the reason obviously is because the positive effect it has on our genes. There's no reason why you would want to have more oxidative stress than you need to. So that's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a way to reduce it. That's like, you know, making sure, giving an insurance policy with respect to your cell health. And the healthier the cells, the healthier you're going to be. So that's a pretty straightforward cause and effect there. We want to make sure we're doing all we can to not just for us, but for the kids, to ensure that long term they're doing the best that they can. As far as people not feeling things, probably 20-25% of the people out there, and I'm sure the people listening here tonight, didn't necessarily feel anything. I think most people will say when they wake up they feel more rested, because that seems to be almost ubiquitous and everyone has that. But I use the example, I should say, that you know, what's the biggest vitamin deficiency in the country? It's vitamin D. You have no idea if your vitamin D levels are high enough or low enough. Don't even know. Iodine, the biggest mineral deficiency. You have no idea. Heck, I have patients that come with a blood pressure of 160 over 100. They have no idea the blood pressure is high. Mm-hmm. So to say I don't feel any different doesn't mean a whole lot. We know that it does what it says it does every time, without question, because the genes will be affected. And you'll have different results in different people depending on what genes that they have an issue with. And so it'll be different for different individuals. But I think that expecting a change, if you're in otherwise good health, you're eating well, you're exercising, you may not notice anything except for the sleep. You may not notice anything. But what I often do, I've shared this with you before, Michael, the video with Cassie, the Golden Lab. I have that video playing in my lobby on a loop. And if a patient comes up and says, you know, I tried this for a month, I don't feel any difference, I don't want to take it, I'll say, okay, hold that thought. We go to the lobby, I queue up Cassie, and to those of you who haven't seen that video, I encourage you to get it, to look at it, and to have it on your phone or in your office, whatever. So it's readily available. And so I queue it up, and we watch Cassie, you know, limping around there. You know the video, how it goes, limping around. 2 weeks later, the dog's chasing that little mutt that was yapping before, and then after that, it actually jumps onto the back of a pickup. So I wait till the thing's done. I pause it. I look at my patient. I say, dogs don't know placebo effect. I don't care if you feel there's no difference. It's still doing what it's supposed to be doing. Keep on taking it. And they kind of shrug and say, okay, because that kind of visual evidence in an animal that has no vested interest on doing or saying anything other than jumping on the back of the pickup truck is pretty convincing, a pretty convincing argument.
Yeah, it's to me, it's one of the most convincing videos that we have. And you know, I'm going to throw this on top. Brandon had a phone call a couple months back, and you can find it on Team True Blue if you haven't listened to it. It was a call with Mark Gordon, and he said that his brother called him, a well-known cardiologist. His brother called him and said, "Mark, I've taken it for 30 days. I don't feel anything." And he said his brother's name was John. He said, "John, just take it. Never stop taking it. Take it for at least 6 months and then come back and talk to me." He said at 6 months, he called him back and he said, "I looked at myself in the mirror. I look younger. I feel younger. My hair's growing. My nails are growing." He just listed all these stuff. He said, "Thank God I didn't stop taking it after I didn't feel it." And so, yeah, I mean, John, thank you so much. I'm excited. John and I have been on this journey for now, it's actually going towards 5 years now. And I think him and I would probably agree that we're more excited now than ever, because we're going to lock arms together and build this together. We have a lot of people that are coming involved in this company. I told John this back in the very beginning, that my professors at Ohio State told me that it would take 7 to 10 years for us to educate people on this. And that was only 5 years ago. So we've got another 5 years of education. And those of you that are involved in now, you want to get as many people involved as you can in the next 3 to 5 years before this becomes, as John said, before the paradigm shift changes. So John, thanks for sharing some insight with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. I'm gonna do just a couple things. I'm gonna share just a couple quick things. We got about 10 minutes left, and I'm just gonna share. I'm gonna talk about finding a mentor, and I'm gonna talk about the end of the month, because tomorrow is the end of the month. When you decide you want to have a mentor, I have a mentor. I'm mentor to people that aren't even in my group, that have taken me and asked me to be their mentor. It's because we get to lock arms with people and build this business together. And there's three great, you see these things on the screen, to evaluate your business. Every month, you want to evaluate your business, determine what is working effectively, and repeating for increased mastery and results. Determine what is not working effectively and make adjustments for the desired outcome. If your business is not growing, if you've been a Pro 4 or Pro 5 or Pro 3, and you've been surrounding yourself around the same people, I'm going to tell you what Brandon tells me. Make a change. Get around people whose businesses are growing, people that they're mentoring, their businesses is growing. I can tell you right now, I've made some of my newest best friends in life just in the last couple of months, because we're locking arms and we're doing this together. So what I want you guys to think about as you go through this is that you allow yourself to lock arms with people who you see as a mentor. And let me tell you something, a mentor can be somebody that when you go through this, it may not be easy for you to have a mentor. Okay. You may not like them, but they may be able to teach you how to develop the proper business strategy to make your business grow. The second point here says coaching, consultation, mentoring on business from your senior member of your upline. Mine is Brandon Cunningham. We talk at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. He tells me things I like to hear and things I don't like to hear. Some people are unable to take criticism from somebody that is teaching them things they need to learn to grow their business. If that's you, find somebody that your personality meets with. I want someone to be tough on me. I've also learned that you cannot want this business more for people than they want it for themselves. When we're this early, as you heard John and myself talk about, you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to go through things that your business will have ups and, as I said, will have ups and downs. You will go through times where you feel like quitting. I'm telling you. I asked Brandon this about 2 years ago. I said, "Did you ever feel like quitting?" And he said, "At about Pro 5." And I went, wow, if he would have quit, the majority of people, actually, I'm looking at the names, about 90% of the people on this call would not be on this call. You would not have heard about LifeVantage yet, and you would not have heard about Pro Tandem. you would have about a 2% chance that you'd heard of it by now. Had Brandon quit at Pro 5. I joined when he was a Pro 6, almost a Pro 7. Okay? And this is great. Emotional consultation, engineering consultation. Okay? Request one-on-one time with your upline the first week of the month and after the month ends to look at your business. Okay? I'm going to talk about a couple things here real quick that you want to do at the end of the month so that you guys kind of know what's going on. Okay, I'm going to finish up with this. Distributor support will be open till midnight on the end of the month to help people with qualifications and rank advancements. Let me explain something to you. Getting paid at a solid rank makes your paycheck bigger. I've done the research. I've looked at it. We can have a month where we have more enrollments, and I watch people that are paid at higher ranks, like they may be a Pro 2, then they make Pro 3, and they're paid higher. Their paycheck goes up high. It goes up more. So check your PV and make sure you and your team have a 200 PV. Okay. I talked to 3 people today that got new credit cards and didn't receive their auto ship. There's a new program that corporate has that you can set up to receive a call the last couple of days of the month to make sure you have an auto ship. And I just learned this from my account manager that they can automatically set it up so that if you don't have an auto ship at the end of the month, they will run an auto ship with you to make sure that you get paid on your commissions. So if you haven't set that up, Lisa and I set it up the other day. So make sure it's set up. If you're a Pro 6 and below, make sure you have a $100 order. Okay? Make sure you have a $100 order so that you receive your matching bonus. Okay? Also, tomorrow ends the Pro 3 Dash, where if you make Pro 3 tomorrow, if you made it last month and this month, you get extra money. If you make it this month, you get paid extra money. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you can do. There's the trip to Mexico that's still on. I know a lot of people, I looked at my back office today, a lot of people are close to making it. So tomorrow you should be on the phone all the way up till 12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay? And then here's the last thing. Okay? Set your goals for the next 3 months on Saturday. Put all the meetings and the events in your calendar. If you want to be a leader, okay, you will schedule the other parts. Now, I'll tell you this. We don't schedule anything that has to do with church or teaching or anything else around LifeVantage events. But we schedule other things around LifeVantage events. Vacations, other stuff that we do, we schedule LifeVantage in, and then we schedule other things in around it. So if you want to be successful and you want to be a leader at this, that's what you'll do. Hopefully all of you, as I said, we're going to have our biggest group in Orlando. When you're in Orlando, enroll for convention in April. I can tell you right now, I've already heard about some things that's going to happen in April at convention. I know it's an extra day now, which is super exciting. And one last thing I want to share before we go. Tomorrow is the 15 Laws of Growth for network marketing tomorrow, all day, starting at 9 a.m. and going to 7 p.m. I have a link. I've been blessed to get a link to be able to broadcast that. I'm going to broadcast it on this Zoom channel tomorrow most of the day. So if you desire to watch, you can come on at any time during the day. I'm going to keep it playing and watch so people can come on and learn and watch. Our own Fred Graves is going to be speaking tomorrow. There's a lot of other people, Rachel Jackson, several of our teams. So if you guys want to do that, you can. And also if you're in the Clearwater area and you want to come over, you can do that also. I'm having the house open for that also. So guys, thank you so much. Remember, our call next week will not be on Thursday. Mark it in your calendars now. It will be Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm grateful that you all were able to come on tonight. Thanks to Dr. John Huey again for being on. God bless you all. Have an amazing week. I'm so excited to get to see all of you next week in Orlando. I love you all. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have an awesome rest of your week. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mike. Bless you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bless
Thanks,
you guys.
Mike.
You're welcome.
Hey, thank you, Mike.